Hello, friends. Welcome to The Big Talk. I'm Tricia Brouk. I am so excited because during the last several months, I have had several of my featured guests going through the Big Talk Academy. And today we are going to talk about the importance of story. We're going to dig deep into the process and why community is so important. I'm so excited to welcome our featured guest today, the incredible Gayle Damiano. Gayle, are you ready to drop in?
Yes.
Gayle Damiano uses her gifts as a motivational speaker, high-performance coach, energy healer, and intuitive to support her clients in assessing their highest potential in their personal and professional lives. Gayle, take a minute to fill us in on everything and anything I missed and talk a little bit about you. I know there's much more going on to you than what I just shared.
Yes, Tricia, it's always a fun chore to put yourself in a 50 words or less bubble. So what I have found that what I do now is again, I'm a motivational speaker, and as I'm calling myself an intuitive, I'm developing a very keen insight on my coaching with clients one-on-one as well as in groups. So what I found myself doing is speaking to the legal community more and more. My past life was working in the legal community, so I have a large audience there. So I get invited to speak to paralegals and attorneys and things like that about how to, especially in these times, how to manage through the stressful situations that we're all working through, how to keep calm, essentially, and address their inner calm and find how to tune into that. So I do a lot of work on listening to that inner voice, using your intuition, and how to find it, how to trust it. And that's essentially what I'm doing right now. I've got a whole backstory, of course. My life was 20 years of alcoholism, essentially, which turned into an awakening and a healing of my mind, body, and soul. I got serious about my own healing and changed my future from what I was told 22 years ago was likely never going. I was told I would likely never naturally conceive if I ever wanted to have children because of a syndrome that I have. And I took that kind of as a life sentence. Although deep down inside, my intuition was kind of punching at me saying, hey, pay attention. The doctors are telling you one thing, but there's more to this. So I took it upon myself to follow the path of healing myself naturally. And I want to say it took 22 years, but really it was only about 2 years because that's when I got serious. And I now have a 6-month-old beautiful baby boy, and I'm totally clean and sober for 3+ years. And my life is just blossoming, transforming, and I do that for others now.
Gayle, that is so incredible. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. And I want to point out that you were trusting your intuition back then, and now you're tapping into your intuitive strengths now in order to serve your communities. How is being an intuitive and really owning that, trusting that, and being open with that in terms of your speaking and your practice, how is that not only serving you, but serving others?
Wow. Well, it serves me because I am always in the mind of, and in the heart of, coming from truth. And through my journey, I've discovered that being of truth, or being true to yourself, who you are, being true to that inner voice, will propel you forward so much faster than ignoring it, shutting it down, deflecting. And that helps me personally in so many ways. And that, by teaching that to my audiences, even in small little things that they can do, tiny little tweaks, and they notice, oh, that's a little thing I can unlock and suddenly feel freer. So being able to use your intuition in ways that, in every way, is really great, but it just really connects to the truth of who we are as human beings and who we individually are. And really, like I said, it propels you so much faster, so much further on your path that you're supposed to be on. It just opens you up to really find out and be honest with yourself with where your strengths lie, what you really want to do, who you really are. So there's a whole, 2 hours of just that. But
when you submitted your introduction video to the Big Talk Academy, you shared with us, the community, for the first time that you were an intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
How did that feel, and what made you decide to share that?
I've been creeping around it. You're right. For a while, just kind of saying I'm intuitive. It's more of the word that I refrain from is psychic, right? But the intuitive is more on the nose for me. It feels more grounded somehow. And it felt really good. It felt really good. I'll tell you, it was really weird, because that moment where it's like that moment you finally have that conversation you've been thinking of in your mind forever, and you finally are face to face with that person, and the words just kind of stumble out of your mouth. You're like, well, there they are. They're out there. So it was exhilarating, exciting. It felt good. I just kind of had a sigh of relief, and it's just, this is who I am.
I'm so glad that you are who you are with us. We have several people in the group who channel, who are intuitive. And so I would like to know, from your point of view, going through the process that I take you all on in the Big Talk Academy, is that process supporting or getting in the way of the idea of channeling and being an intuitive and your speaking career?
That's an interesting question. A really good question. I want to say both. That it's going from the idea. I'm thinking of the idea mining process, where we had all of these ideas. We had 100 ideas, literally, at least, that we mined out of our psyche with your process. And that, for me, felt good to have something to focus on around a topic, around an idea. It also felt like I wanted to throw it all away because I already knew what my idea was. So I felt like I'm going to do all of this and come back to the same idea anyway. But it was really a good process to do, because it did open up a lot of different little alleyways in my space, in my brain, to say, oh, look, there's a little thread you can pull over here later on. So I like it.
Amazing. What have you experienced so far? I always say in my communities, you might be on stage alone, but you're never by yourself. It's really, the process is about going through this together. What have you found about the community that's been supportive of this process for you, Gayle?
The community's been amazing. I, at first, hesitated a little bit to put questions out there and kind of share what I was going through. As soon as I got over myself, which these days is usually between the space of 30 seconds and 10 minutes. It doesn't last that long anymore, but as soon as I got over myself, I would post a quick video on the group or send a message just to share what I was going through. And everyone is so supportive. And what is always the case, even when I don't think it's going to be the case, it's always the case that someone else is going through the exact same thing. And even in the group, I've even had somebody reach out to me on the side on a direct message to say, hey, why don't we get on a call? We're both going through the same thing. It would be great to put our heads together. So it's just really warm, inviting, safe. It's a safe place to experiment, to be creative, and it's really necessary to have the safety part of it.
It's so true. And I share this with my speakers and my actors in the speaker salon. When there's a safe environment, that's when you can make big mistakes to get to huge successes. Without making mistakes, you're going to have a flat talk. It's going to be like everyone else's. But as soon as you make a huge mistake and you break open something that you never thought was possible because you're playing small, then all of a sudden that's when the big talk reveals itself to you. So I'm so glad that you're having that experience. I'd love to talk a little bit about, you just had a baby and you're at home by yourself taking care of everything because we're still separated, shelter in place. Mm-hmm. So what's going on for you? What are you learning about yourself during this process?
I'm learning that all of those years of taking care of other people and putting other people in front of me to be a people pleaser as much as it didn't serve me. And I have to say, doing things like taking all of the groceries in one pass because I can do it with 2 arms and open the door with my toes, all of those things that I would push myself to do for some silly reason are now coming in handy because I have to use all of that for the baby. I was with the shelter in place. My husband was stuck in New York in Queens, and I've been in Florida. So I've been essentially a single mom for 3.5 months or 3 months, and doing that, trying to run a business and do the Big Talk Academy has been a challenge, but very eye-opening. And, anytime someone says, I don't have the time, it's just an opportunity to open up the conversation about where you really do have the time. Because if I can still book clients and be a single mom and somehow manage all of this, we can all figure it out. There's time. Absolutely.
How are you leveraging this experience and writing your big talk with your business?
Oh, yeah. It's interesting because it's all kind of melting together in a way, because I find myself talking about it to everyone, say I'm writing a big talk. What does that mean? Oh, and I go down that whole conversation, and it's affording me the ability to be more open about wanting to speak in front of more people, which I've casually mentioned in the past. And now I'm like, you know what? Why be casual? Let's just put it out there. So now I find myself just in conversation being open with, it's okay that I want to speak to a lot of people. For some reason, it was just like that. I don't know what that is, that conversation within ourselves that says, I don't know if it's we're cutting ourselves off from wanting to be in the center of attention. Like, oh, she just wants attention. No, I'm here to help as many people as possible. So the more people I tell that and talk to and meet, the better. So even in casual conversation, it's just turning into people walk away knowing, oh, okay, that person could be a window. The way I look at it is that person could be a window to my next stage. I don't know. They might work for this company that's looking for me. I don't know. So I'm just having the conversation with everybody now. And no, my talk isn't totally done at all. No, I don't have it polished and memorized yet. No, I don't have, a million other things lined up yet. But I've done similar talks in the past. And if I got the opportunity to speak in front of somebody next week, I would make it work. So this is what I asked for. So
I love what you're saying about being able to talk about the ideas and what you have been able to get clear on around the big talk. So it's not written fully, it's not memorized. That is part of the process. You're only in week 6. This is a 12-week process. What I love though, Gayle, is that you have now more language around your big idea, so that you are going to be talking to people about it. They are going to call you to speak on stages. They're also going to hire you to coach them, because you're clear on your mission, your message, what you think is important, and you're articulating it because you're spending time with it. And that's the thing that's so wonderful, is you're spending time with your big idea. And I've seen this happen over and over when speakers start getting clear on what they care about and their mission and their message. They're talking about it over dinner, and by the time the check comes, they've just booked a client. So it's really powerful when you go through any process of getting clear on what it is that you care about and how to speak about it, whether it's from a big stage or from across the table.
Perfect. Yes, I've absolutely 100% agree.
What has surprised you most about being so intentional about writing this big talk this time around? Because I know you've dabbled.
Okay. So what surprised me the most is, I think I have to go back to the conversation about finding the time. I guess it surprised me most where I find the time. Literally, I'll put the baby on the floor and sit down at my computer, and he's over there crawling around, and I'm like looking at him every 30 seconds to make sure he's not trying to do something crazy. But so I'll find piecemeal time like that. But then also what surprised me the most is that other conversation I mentioned earlier about learning how to ask for help. And I think it's something that women especially, sorry guys, I have to put us out there, women especially have a hard time asking for help. I found it in my practice. I find it when in just conversation with women, we tend to want to, we have superwoman complex. We want to do it all. We can do it all by ourselves. We don't need your help. So when we do ask for help, it's almost like this massive explode. I don't know. For me anyway, it's like, oh, all I had to do was ask. And now suddenly I have 2 hours. This is amazing. So what's surprising me is that, I can't, yes, I can do it all myself. I don't need to do it all myself. It actually benefits me the most if I don't do it all myself. And the number one thing is that I can focus on one topic. And in the past, I've been so all over the place. I mean, this idea mining has been wonderful, and I kind of came back to the same topic anyway. But in the past, if I showed you my notes on my phone of all my talk ideas, I'm all over the place, and book ideas, forget it. So the focus has been great, the focus.
Amazing. And how has your view of yourself changed by showing up like this consistently?
I feel it's another level of myself. There's a lot of things that I do I tell people I run towards things that scare me because that's how I grow. And that's how we all grow. If, some people kind of limp towards the thing or crawl. I try to kind of go face first into things that scare the hell out of me, like speaking on stages to people that I feel are judging me, saying, who is this person? She's not qualified, or whatever the million things are. So yeah, I just totally lost the question because I went down totally rabbit hole there. So
your view of yourself.
My view of myself. Yeah. Thank you. See, my view of myself is I'm all over the place because I'm a new mom, first of all, but it's okay. So it's that other level. It's just the next level of what is possible for me. I feel like I could be doing a lot more, but I also am relaxing more into the feminine aspect, the motherhood, the taking a step back, learning how to engage in that inner listening more often, because that's what I teach and that's how I've gotten to where I am. So when I do that, I'm able to see the bigger picture more fully, more often. So for me, it's just kind of fine tuning myself. And 20 years from now, I'm going to look back and laugh at what I just said. But for now, it feels like I'm fine tuning my scheduling capacities and all of those things.
And you just touched on something that I want to highlight, which is the big picture.
Yeah.
Why is the big picture so important?
The big picture is important. You have to have goals you have to have a goal in mind, an end point when you start any kind of project. Just to put one foot in front of the other is great. What are you striving to do though? What is, for me, there's a lot of big pictures. I mean, we can go global immediately. Right now, this time and age, this week, how many things could we look at a big picture and say there's so much to do? But that's the perfect analogy, actually, because there's so much to do. Pick a cause, okay? And okay, you can't have world peace without addressing A, B, and C first. So pick a cause, and that's your big picture. So it's honing in on what your big picture is. What does my life look like for me in 20 years? Where do I want to be? I know where I want to be. I want to be still being flown all over the world, speaking on stages, transforming lives, and making a huge difference in the world in a positive way. And that's where I want to be. And, a lot of other things, but we'll start there.
I love it. And that's why showing up every single day in whatever medium you choose to get clear on your idea, to get clear on your voice, to be reminded through community that what you have to say matters is everything. Because global big picture, we can make the world a better place one speech at a time. And I appreciate that you are showing up in this way, Gayle.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for being a featured guest today on The Big Talk. Where can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can find me through my website, is usually the easiest, GayleDamiano.com. There's a little chat feature there. Just send me a message or join the mailing list. There's that way. I'm also on Facebook. Search Gayle Damiano in Google, and I'm the whole first page. So you can find me Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Perfect.
It's pretty easy.
I'll put all of this in the show notes as well.
Great.
Thanks again for listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the big talk. Be sure to check out the next episode, subscribe here, and if you're interested in joining the Big Talk Academy, you can get on the wait list at thebigtalkacademy.com. Remember, live your truth, be your authentic self, and drop in. I hope that you will start sharing your powerful story today, and be sure to subscribe and click on that notification bell so that you get access to my newest and latest videos. And I really appreciate that you are here and will always respond to the comments.
Big love.